You know, for a lot of players, the dream of owning a hand-voiced American-made guitar has just been a little bit out of reach.
That is until now. This is the Bourgeois Professional Series in a new satin finish, and it's changing everything.
These guitars are made for the working musicians, the gigging players. They're built in Maine right alongside the rest of the Bourgeois lineup with the same legendary tone and craftsmanship.
And in this video, we are going to show you what makes them so special, and most importantly, let you hear the entire lineup. Let's get into it.
So Jeremy, let's talk about these new guitars. They're absolutely killer. It is part of the professional lineup now in satin, an amazing new finish that sounds great, and now come in 8 different models, starting with the Bourgeois Blues, which is an all mahogany LDBO. Comes in the new satin price now at $41.39. Also available is the Country Boy OM and Dread. That's a mahogany with a Sitka spruce top, coming in at $39.59. Also available, the Vintage Dread and OM, that's your rosewood sides and back Sitka top at $41.39. The hog top, this is something that, again, people have talked about for a long time. Bourgeois OM that is all mahogany at $39.59. And last, the Naturals. Now this is your slope shoulder guitars, the slope shoulder Dread, the slope D, as they call it, and the LDBO, both coming in at $39.59. I mean, this has started way back when they joined with Eastman to come up with the Touchstone series. Dana knew that guitars were getting out of reach of a lot of the clientele that's been looking for his voicing, the guitars that are above and beyond everybody else. And the Touchstones are fantastic guitars, but they wanted to take it a step further and get an all-American made guitar and do something more affordable. So when we talked about doing this, they were trying to get something in that $4,000 range, which still is a fair amount of money, don't get me wrong, but way less than any of the boutique American-made guitars. So what Dana decided to do is come up with processes that make it easier. And it started with the Satin Finish. Now this is not truly a satin finish. This is a nitrocellulose, but we call it a semi-gloss. They're calling it a satin. It is a little different. It's not just purely a satin finish, which is what they use on their original necks. This has a sheen. He wanted to be more vintage-like. And the other side of this that saves some money is not having to fill the pores, obviously on the sides and back and the neck. So it does feel a little bit different. But the second side of that was it came out with something that totally surprised Dana and the entire team. That is a different sounding guitar.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely thrilled with it. Like I said, this finish was not just a standard satin spray. They had to reformulate it. They wanted something to be more vintage-like, and that is exactly what they ended up with, both in tone and in the way it looks and feels.
Hey guys, I hope you're as excited about this new series from Bourgeois Guitars as we are. If you like this kind of content, please take one moment to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to grow, and we appreciate that so much. In fact, we're going to be giving away a prize package of up to $3,500. There's a card over here. Click on that. That'll explain how to enter. Comment on that video. Be sure to share it as much as possible, and please subscribe. We appreciate it so much.
So let's talk about the tone of these guitars. This was one of those situations, like I said, Dana is absolutely thrilled with the sound that this guitar.
Rightfully
in
so.
fact, it's actually made him rethink some of the things that they're doing in their upper line of Bourgeois guitars. This new nitro finish has changed the overall tone of these guitars. It now feels more open. It feels more, it still has the Bourgeois focus and detail, but with more roundness, more vintage space. I mean, listen to this. There's sustain there that just kind of
And fullness. Like,
keeps on going.
it
Yeah,
sounds
and
big.
I think this actually does meld that space. If you've not been a Bourgeois fan in the past because you feel it's too focused, this may be the perfect answer for you because it still gives you that open space. But as you heard, when I hit every single string, it's like boom, 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 boom. You hear that detail more so than you've probably heard any Bourgeois or most guitars that you've played before. I do think that has brought something to the table that has never been done before. This is a Slope D that I would absolutely play on stage. It has all of the power I want, and it does give you that J45 thing better, bigger.
Yeah. And then we were talking about the same thing with this guitar. We were showing it in this room, and it's filling the entire studio. It's just, for LDBO, it's got a very big fullness to it as well. Obviously a different tone palette than like a Dreadnought, but I think it's a big change from what Bourgeois had been doing in the past. It's still built by, and that's the thing, it's still their thing, but just them experimenting and trying some new finishes with the intent of let's figure out what we can do at a lower price point. Ended up with some surprising results where like, hey, this turned out really good.
Now, as far as the setup and playability, again, this is a Bourgeois guitar. Everybody knows that when we get to this level of instrument, there's certain details. And this is set up with mediums, but it's a perfect setup. Yeah. It feels right. It's doing everything that it's supposed to do, and there's no buzzes. There's no crazy things that are going on. This feels like, again, a $9,000 guitar, now under $4,000. That's pretty impressive. The build quality on these guitars is every bit the details. I mean, when we talk about boutique guitars, everybody wants to hold it to the standard of Collings and Bourgeois and Santa Cruz and all that. This is every bit that. It is a Bourgeois guitar. The inside of this is as clean as anything else. Now, again, making it a little simple with the non-pore filled, so it's not going to be as, on the outside, but it's part of its charm too. I mean, he went through a very specific thing with this finish. It has a semi-gloss to look more like a vintage 30s era guitar. In fact, we're going to be doing some really cool things with some 30s era guitars using this finish, which was not intended, but it sounded so good that we're going to be doing some really, really neat things with that in the future. When we talk about value, this is where it comes out.
That's the whole intent of the line, and they nailed it.
I can't say enough about this. I really do think that these guitars are going to change everybody's idea of what can be had for the $4,000 mark. And it's a good thing because the prices keep going up. Right now, our least expensive boutique 18 style mahogany Dreadnought guitar is in that $5.5, $3 range. And then you're taking a Bourgeois and putting it down there. That's a pretty darn impressive cost.
who is this guitar built for? I think it's a pretty obvious answer. It's you start the video with it. It's the player that wants a boutique American-built guitar, but it was out of their price range before.
You want that experience. You want the feel. You want the power, the detail that you can only get in that upper line build. And I've always said that the little things are what cost so much money. And for the first time, we're getting the little things at this price point. That's pretty darn impressive. The only drawback that I am kind of on the fence of right now, and I don't think I'm bothered by it at all, is the neck feel. I think the open pore finish on the body, pretty easy to deal with. It does feel different if you're used to it. Now again, if you actually own a vintage guitar, this is pretty close to what you know to feel because you've already worn a lot of that, the pore fill and the coats of lacquer off of it. I like the way this finish feels, but there is a little bit different variance with the open pore. It's a texture. So if I was going to say one thing that may be a little bit of a hindrance for some player, it would be the feel of the neck, but the playability of the neck, the shape of the neck, this is a Bourgeois guitar. The only other thing that I think may also show up is that gloss finish versus satin finish thing. For some people, obviously, are used to that gorgeous look of especially the finish work that is done on boutique guitars, especially Bourgeois in the past. But I say you might want to give this a shot, especially myself. I've been an anti-satin finish guitar. I find that they tend to be mushy, chunky sounding, and don't have clarity and detail. This guitar does not suffer for this. In fact, if you're one of those people who just usually separates themselves from satin finish guitars, I really think you ought to try this guitar because it does not sound like anything else that I've heard. It does have a woodiness to it, but it's not a mushiness. It feels...
It doesn't lose the articulation.
Exactly. That is exactly right. So, again, give it a shot. I would probably been a person that would not have ordered this for myself because I've been against that, but I think this is one you should probably take a look at.
We normally like to help our viewers figure out, what is this instrument like that they can relate to? This is a new series they haven't tried out yet. What guitar would you say this would relate to? Obviously a Bourgeois.
Yeah, the exact thing at a $4,000 price tag higher is what it is. I don't know if there's anything quite like this on the market right now.
It reminds me a bit of what Iris was doing with some of the, spending more detail on the woods and the build than the finish, saving some
good point
of the budget.
But the only difference there was those were in body shapes that were uncommon and their own unique flavors. So this is kind of cool in that it is the flavors that you normally would look at. This is a Slope Dread, the Country Boy 18 mahogany, style guitars, vintage being a rosewood guitar. That's the stuff that you're used to. So again, that's a pretty good point, Jeremy. I like that. It does have some of that coolness of the Iris thing going on, but except with stuff that you understand better.
And expect from Dana and his team, James and all those guys up there.
I'm so glad to know that a company like this is paying attention to the trends right now. Over the past 10 years or so, we've watched guitar prices continue to roll. We hear it from you guys all the time. We've watched it here. And to see a company that is in that bubble
and can continue to raise prices if they choose to.
And they're still doing it. Some of their high prices, and I understand why they have to do it. But to take and notice that this is a trend that has to show up, which is guitars that real people can afford again. And again, I told you in the beginning, this is not a cheap guitar, but this is at least affordable when you start thinking of the same guitar at twice this price is what you could expect if the things keep moving as they were. It's awesome to know that a company like Bourgeois says, you know what, we hear you guys. We hear you.
I think we're going to start seeing this more and more in the industry because it is something that they're realizing that they're leaving a whole demographic behind, not giving them any option to own one of these guitars. So they're paying attention to it. I think we're going to see more manufacturers out there doing the same thing, figuring out ways to make them affordable. They'll still have their upper end ones for the folks that can afford them, but having a line that's available for the actual pickers is very encouraging.
To put a cherry on top of all this, Jer, I'm really excited because we did get Bourgeois to agree to make an exclusive guitar to us. This is going to be pretty awesome. In this new professional satin series, we are going to get an LSH that is going to have Madagascar rosewood sides and back and Adirondack torrified top, so AT, Adirondack top and bracing. Some new features that we have not seen yet on their LSH, including a slot through saddle. Some new options that I've been working with the team on that are exclusive to us, and it's going to come in under $5,000. In fact, $49.49 is what we are going to be able to price that out. I am extremely excited about that. Exclusive here at TAS. And yeah, this is such a great thing that we're so glad to be with the Bourgeois folks on, because I do think this is going to change how we look at boutique guitars. If you guys want to know more about the new professional Satin Finish, we actually had a sit down with Alistair, who is head of sales now, and James, who is the master luthier and running most of what we're seeing coming out of the Bourgeois shop up in Lewiston, Maine. We have the video right here. We were with them at the Fretboard Summit.
Yeah.
They sat down to talk about this and some other things going on at Bourgeois. This will give you a little bit more information, so click on that link. And until next time, guys, keep checking out videos. Keep playing your guitars and mandolins, because we'll be around for more of it.
And tell us how you think about this new series.